Well, good morning, everyone. Might as well get started. It is, according to my watch, it's 17 after the hour. Good morning. My name is Scott Anton with Gideon Taylor, and welcome to our session, Unintended Consequences of Saas Migrations.
And I'm Paul Taylor. I'll be the primary presenter. I invited Scott to be a color commentary here and maybe do a little bit of podcast style back and forth. So I'll be play by play and he can be a color commentary. So yes, I am the founder, president, CEO of Gideon Taylor. I've been around for a long time in the PeopleSoft space, about 26 years, according to my math. I was the original creator of GTE forums for PeopleSoft. We'll introduce you there a little bit if you have not. Well, whether or not you've seen it, we'll introduce you anyway. I am passionate about getting rid of the pain points that people run into in their business process management with custom PeopleSoft solutions. Little known fact, I am an undefeated thumb wrestler. And that may be mostly because I'm very judicious about choosing my opponents. But as far as I remember, I cannot remember losing.
You are opening yourself up to a lot of challenges there, Paul.
Yeah, well, there. So RECONNECT Admin 3 put a thumb up for me to wrestle with there, and I won. See, he's gone. Okay, so yes, go ahead, Scott. You can hit this one.
Fantastic. Yes, I get to play Robin to Paul's Batman this morning. Just a quick introduction on me. I manage business development with Gideon Taylor. I have had the pleasure of knowing Paul and working with Paul for the last 12 or 13 years, and as part of Gideon Taylor for the last decade. So a little bit of background on who we are. Gideon Taylor provides a whole raft of PeopleSoft services, as well as broader ERP services. For the last 21 years, we've been helping organizations implement, upgrade, optimize, and maintain their PeopleSoft systems, and also help them with strategies now in terms of what their next step, what their next generation looks like in their ERP lifecycle. So if you're ever looking for assistance from a PeopleSoft perspective or from a strategy perspective, our services include full professional services, managed services, cloud hosting services, cloud migration services, as well as our passion, and Paul can attest to this much more than I can, for process automation and process optimization, helping organizations drive greater value out of their core ERP systems to better serve their businesses. And we do that through a variety of ways. We've got some specialized methodologies in terms of helping organizations evaluate and assess and optimize business processes. But then we also have a suite of fantastic tools that can support those kinds of optimization and automation projects, including GTE forums, a bolt-on for PeopleSoft that Paul alluded to just a minute ago, and things like our IDA digital assistant that sits on top of ODA, Oracle Digital Assistant, UiPath for robotic process automation, and again, ultimately, it's with the goal of helping our clients succeed with their ERP solutions and make that step to whatever the next generation is. Next slide.
Oh, sorry, I got off of the deck. There we go.
This is just kind of a summary of the core service areas that we provide. Over on the right-hand side are our Keep Current services, just helping organizations manage and maintain and optimize their PeopleSoft systems in place, helping them take advantage of the latest releases in PUM image updates and People Tools releases. In the upper left, modernized and automated, helping them modernize their processes, modernize their systems, but also help them automate tasks behind the scenes, things that might not be user-facing through RPA, robotic process automation, and helping them organize and develop centers of excellence within their organization. So they've got teams of people who know those technologies and know those processes and can provide better support internally. Down in the lower left, process optimization. Again, I mentioned that the little circle, the little gear shows GTE forms, but we also have a variety of other tools that can help with those processes, all in this case, integrated inside PeopleSoft, but also looking at adapting those solutions and those tools to other Oracle Cloud apps.
And I just realized, Scott, what's missing from this slide. We don't have IDA on there.
I know.
Which is, and we'll probably swing past it. We've got some shameless plug going on right now. We've got a little bit of shameless plug at the end. Just red meat in the middle. So we'll pay for it. But yes, we also, with our acquisition this year of Intrasy, have a focus on user experience, and that includes conversational UI, chatbot, digital assistance technology, and with some of the most successful real-world applications of that technology in the PeopleSoft space.
Yeah, I think that there is a session with or about Princeton's adoption of, is that IDA or WebUX?
That would be WebUX.
That's WebUX. Okay. So yeah, I should bring attention to those logos in the lower left corner of your screen. Gideon Taylor is obviously the one that we're talking about this morning, but two companies that we have added to the Gideon Taylor family over the last 2 years, that's been our big COVID project, has been acquiring Intrasy and leveraging their digital assistant technology that Paul was just talking about, as well as WebUX, helping organizations reface and reimagine what the PeopleSoft experience looks like and how users interact with PeopleSoft applications and PeopleSoft navigation. And then over on the right side of the logos, Newbury Enterprise Services. We acquired Newbury last year in 2021, and they bring a wealth of PeopleSoft services experience as well as the robotic process automation practice featuring UiPath technologies. This slide and the next one, I think, are the last shameless plugs before we actually get into the red meat. This one just illustrates the fact that our GTE Forms software, which is Oracle certified, it's a bolt-on to PeopleSoft, it's all People Tools based, helps organizations bridge that gap between where the functionality delivered with the PeopleSoft Forms or Approval Builder ends and custom fluid development begins. As far as we know, it is the only tool on the market that allows you to effectively and efficiently create, through predominantly configuration, custom fluid applications inside your PeopleSoft systems. Over on the left, it lists the configuration-based features that are included with the tool. They extend far beyond what the PeopleSoft Forms Builder provides out of the box. A whole host of configuration capabilities, including obviously form setup, configurable logic, configurable workflow, pre-population, dynamic defaulting, instructional text inline inside your form pages. Over on the right is just to emphasize that it has unlimited technical extension capabilities. There's over 120 people code hooks built into the GTE Forms framework to allow for all kinds of custom development. And it also has some excellent integrations with document imaging systems, other third-party applications, DHS's hosted E-Verify solution to complement our I-9 solution. So some absolutely amazing systems and solutions that our clients have created with the GTE Forms tool. And this, I think, is my last slide. These are just some quick screenshots of what eForms can look like. We could put a variety up there to represent the different ways that people are using eForms. Sometimes they're just simple questionnaires, although one of the cool things about eForms is that they can support conditional branching. So if you want to guide someone through a questionnaire or a survey that changes dynamically based on their responses, GTE eForms is a great tool for that. In the two lower right-hand images are fairly common appearances for eForms, just common pages with some fields and maybe a grid that's also configuration based inside GTE Forms. Policy acknowledgements. There's also GT Analytics, which is in the upper left-hand corner there, that allows you to assess the performance and the status of eForms flowing throughout your organization at any given time. And I think the one other thing that I'll mention, aside from just having you guys look at the transformative results that some of our clients have realized with the tool, in that middle moss green box, in the very middle of that, bulk actions, that's something that came up earlier this week in the conference. People asking, how can I accommodate a better process for executing mass actions? GTE Forms is a fantastic platform for that. We've got a lot of clients that use GTE Forms to consume information uploaded from spreadsheets or other third-party applications and use that to consolidate information either in a single e-form with multiple rows of data to allow for edits and reviews and approvals and automatic updates into PeopleSoft, or you can have a spreadsheet launch multiple e-forms, one e-form for each row of data, and have that e-form, each one of those go individually through their workflow process and ultimately end up updating PeopleSoft at the end. So no more manual data entry, super fast, super easy. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna engage with Paul during our conversation this morning. I encourage you guys to engage as well. Feel free to come off mute if you'd like. Submit your questions in the chat function inside the conference platform, and we're happy to take a pause and respond to those as we go along. We hope that it's interactive.
Indeed, and casual. To contribute to the casual, I'll mention, one of the advantages of one of the benefits of our progressive times is that it's just fine for a guy to know that color is moss green. So it's I never would have picked that out myself, but I am glad that you've got the sensitivity to identify the mossiness of that green there, Scott.
I am who I am.
That's good stuff. Okay, so let's see here.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate the comment.
I missed the comment.
He is in business development.
There we go. It's a sensitive soul. Okay, so just raise of hands. How many of you? I think Charlie was in our Tuesday session. My Tuesday session, where we talked about, let's see, what was our title on Tuesday, Scott?
Cloud, SaaS, PeopleSoft, and you?
Yes, Cloud, SaaS, PeopleSoft, and you. I'm going to reprise a couple of slides from there, if you will indulge me. I think that there are quite a few people here who hadn't seen them, and it'll kind of help tee up the main slide. This is not a long deck. This is mostly Scott and I talking. It's probably mostly me talking and Scott trying to get a word in edgewise. But so as we talk about SaaS solutions, it's pretty common to kind of conflate the meaning of cloud and SaaS. And people talk about cloud when they mean SaaS. Sometimes we talk about SaaS when we mean cloud. SaaS is really a subset of cloud, and I want to just go over what the other components of cloud mean when we talk about a cloud-based solution. So there are 5 of these. The first one is that it be cloud hosted. So the first question is, well, where is your data? If your data is in someone else's data center, then that's a cloud hosted solution, or we can call that an IaaS solution as well. So you have so basically we're running on someone else's metal, and there are some advantages, some features and advantages of that. You typically are paying by resource usage, and you've got access over the internet. You should have access to some economies of scale, because the company that actually owns the hardware is buying a whole lot more of it than you, and they've got a lot of scale to manage, so it should be cheaper in that sense. You've got the ability to scale, compute, and storage, whereas if you're buying the hardware, you've got to if you're buying the hardware, you have to pay for your peak usage. You've got to have enough storage, enough compute to manage your peak needs. On cloud, you can just ramp up to peak and then ramp back down. You don't have to be paying for peak all the time. And of course, you can offload infrastructure management. So the people who are actually tending the machines can be someone else's people. You have more predictable security, hopefully, and you have the ability to automate deploying, spinning up, and tearing down resources. Often you can stand up instances much, much faster, as in sometimes hours instead of days or weeks. So there are advantages to be had there. And we're talking about the session title here of unintended consequences of SaaS migrations. That doesn't mean that all of those unintended consequences are bad. And some of these items here that we're listing, if they're things you haven't thought of, then they're unintended until we talk about them. And hopefully one of the goals of this session can be that some of the unintentional can become intentional, and part of the thinking in terms of your decision-making process for going to adopting various cloud postures. Another feature of cloud-based solutions is subscription licensing, and this basically can mean that you lower the cost up front, both for for software and for the hardware or the platform that you're running on. Another part of that is an accounting thing. That one of the drivers for the whole SaaS movement and the whole cloud movement is that you're basically renting the software, just like really you're renting the hardware for cloud hosting, and that means that since you're not buying it, you're not adding an asset to the books. When you add an asset to the books, in order to get the tax advantage of having spent that money, you have to depreciate that asset over multiple years. So you pay more taxes up front, especially because you didn't actually really get rid of that money. You just turned it into an asset, either by buying a machine or buying a software license. With subscription-based licensing plus cloud hosting, you really are getting rid of that money. Of course, that's a downside too, right? Because you got rid of the money. You don't have anything to show for it other than that you got to use those services. So there is, when we say lower cost up front, the corollary to that is more cost over time. You will spend more on licensing. You just won't spend it all up front. One other thing to remember, though, as you're looking at these choices, is that with cloud hosting, you've already got machines, and there is ongoing cost to maintain them, but you're buying something again. And with licensing, same thing. You already own a PeopleSoft license, and that's a perpetual license. And so you've already bought that. You're going to buy something else, and you're going to buy a lot of it when you go to a SaaS solution.